When factoring a trinomial that starts with x squared, we're often looking to factor it into two binomials that will each start with x. And to determine how to complete those parentheses, we look at the last term, which in this case of our first example is a plus 25. We want to figure out what we can multiply to get that number that adds up to the coefficient of the middle term. In this case, to multiply to be a positive 25 and add up to a positive 10, we would have a plus 5 and a plus 5. And this answer is completely correct. It's also correct to notice when we have the same parentheses multiplied by itself, we could write this answer if we choose to as x plus 5 squared. Let's look at our next example, x squared plus 5x, minus 5x plus 6. Here again, we'll have two parentheses. It starts with x squared, so we'll have x at the beginning of each one. Here we need to find what we can multiply to be a positive 6 that adds up to a negative 5. To multiply to be a positive 6 and add up to a negative 5, we would need a minus 2 and a minus 3. So x minus 2 times x minus 3 would be our factoring. Notice the order of parentheses doesn't matter. It would be just as good if we put x minus 3 times x minus 2, and that would work just fine. Let's look at our next problem, x squared plus 10x minus 24. Here again, we'll end up factoring it into two binomials that each start with x. Here we need to think of what we can multiply to be a negative 24 that will add up to a positive 10. When the number that you're multiplying to is negative, your results are going to be one positive number and one negative number. So here we know one of our parentheses is going to be x plus, the other will be x minus. And thinking of the things you can multiply to get 24 and making one of them negative so that it would add up to a positive 10, it would end up being a plus 12 and a minus 2, like so. If we look at x squared minus 5x minus 6, we split it into two binomials that both start with x. To multiply to be a negative 6 and add up to a minus 5, we would need a minus 6 and a plus 1, like so. Or again, if we put x plus 1 times x minus 6, that would work just as well. If you would like to try the next two problems on your own, pause the video now and resume when you're ready to see the solutions. First, for x squared minus 8x plus 16, we're going to have two binomials that each start with x. And we're looking for what we could multiply to be a positive 16 that adds up to a negative 8. If you're thinking of the things you could multiply to get 16, you could have 1 times 16, 2 times 8, or 4 times 4. And you might see, okay, well, 4 times 4 adds up to 8. If they're positive, though, they would add up to positive 8. In order for the pair to multiply to be a positive 16, they need to be both positive or both negative. In this case, we make them both negative so that they multiply to be positive 16 and add up to a negative 8. If we're looking at x squared plus 7x minus 18, we'll have two parentheses, each of which starts with x. There's a few things that can multiply to be 18. It could be 1 times 18, or 2 times 9, or 3 times 6. And looking at these, remembering that we're actually trying to multiply to be a negative 18, we know we need one positive number and one negative number. So we look at our list and think, where could I put a negative sign so that the pair would add up to a positive 7? And if we put the negative sign with the 2, then our pair negative 2 and 9 would multiply to negative 18 and add up to 7. So our solution is x minus 2 times x plus 9.